It's not just our family, it's 30,000 families a year losing loved ones because they don't have insurance.
I was not trying to become an activist. We live 6 minutes from Ferguson. Being a woman of color, our image is scrutinized. People in my district, this is how we look.
I come from a long line of coal miners. We've been collateral damage. They underestimate us.
I'm running because everyday Americans deserve to be represented by everyday Americans.
All right, I admit that gave me chills. A new political documentary is seeking to inspire. The film showcases the journey of 4 working-class women who ran for Congress during the 2018 midterms. One of those women you might have heard of, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has of course become a national name and a political lightning rod at that. The documentary Knock Down the House debuts tomorrow on Netflix, and here to discuss the inspiration behind it is filmmaker Rachel Lears. We are also lucky to be joined by one of the candidates who was featured, former Nevada House candidate Amy Vilela, who is featured in the film. Welcome, ladies. So great to have you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Let me start with you, Rachel. What did inspire you to pick these 4 women and this particular story?
Yeah, well, I've been making films about politics and social movements for a while, and in 2016 I was looking for, I was between projects and looking for a new project, and I wanted something that would really be national in scope, a story that would touch on people from different parts of the country, from different walks of life, really coming together to put forward a positive vision for where the country could go. And I had heard about this plan with these groups, Brand New Congress and Justice Democrats, that were recruiting ordinary working people to run for Congress to really build a pathway to power for people who wouldn't ordinarily have the chance to get there. And these would be folks who would be supporting one another across the country. And I wanted to follow those personal stories of transformation, but also that collective effort. And these 4 women really stood out to me because of their very personal, high-stakes reasons for running, and we needed people that were going to be really great to watch on camera, win or lose. And I think we got it. We got some pretty great folks in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, Amy, for you, you were one of those people who sparked Rachel's interest. What did cause you to jump into this race? You hadn't run for office before, correct?
No,
this was the first time.
Not at all.
Right. So what made you feel like this was the moment you had to do things differently?
It was a couple different factors that made me decide to run. I became an activist when my daughter died from a lack of health insurance. What she perceived was a lack of health insurance. And when I went to my congressman at the time and I saved what I thought was going to be the representative that was going to be the easiest to get on board with Medicare for all, he said no and was dismissive of me as a mother as well. And I was like, well, I'm going to primary you.
Wow.
And it was the whole, you're not a public celebrity, you're a public servant.
Right.
And when I saw the process and I understood and I started putting all the pieces together, when you see evil and you do nothing about it, you're complicit. So I knew that I had to speak up, I had to fight, and not just about healthcare, but all the issues because they are intersectional. So it was a lot of things that came together, but it was a scary decision to make.
Yeah, what was that like when you said, okay, I'm doing this, I'm in the race? Like, tell us about that first moment when you were public, addressing a group or telling advisors that you were gonna do this. What was that like?
We announced via video, and there was a lot of negative backlash.
Yeah.
It was where you see the part where in the movie where Alexandria is talking about people saying, how dare you?
Right.
How dare you challenge somebody who is already so established?
Right.
And I think all of us on some level had that immense pushback and the anger. So not only were you facing another party, but you were facing the anger within your party and trying to overcome that and push forward on the issues. It was scary. It was at times it was disheartening and sad, but you have to always remember your why and keep on pushing forward, because we knew, especially I knew for me, I knew what the ultimate price was for bad legislation.
Rachel, what were some of the common threads between these 4 women? Because you picked Amy in Nevada, you picked Paula Jean Swearingen in West Virginia, you had New York, you had Missouri, correct? And so 4 very different women, but all sort of challenging the system, challenging entrenched interest. What were some of the commonalities between them and their races?
Yeah, there were a lot of commonalities. I mean, first of all 4 of them had pledged not to take any corporate funding. They were all running grassroots campaigns entirely based on small dollar donations and really excited legions of volunteers. So that was kind of the model that they were all running on. But at a personal level, what really drew me to them as a filmmaker was the fact that each of them was taking the hardship and loss and pain that they had experienced in their lives, connecting those to policy, and really turning that experience into fuel for the fire of positive action.
And what are some of the moments? AOC obviously has become, household name. She's very controversial. People love her, they hate her, they talk endlessly about her. What are some of the things that you see, the moments that you see of her in this film that you may not see from the public persona?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is really put out a more nuanced human story of all 4 women, and of course of Alexandria, and a very a complex portrait of the political process. I mean, the film works on multiple levels. You've got this really direct human underdog story that anybody can relate to as you kind of go through the process with the candidates. But at the same time, there's different layers depending on your entry point. If you're interested in policy, there are going to be some discussions that might be of interest to you. If you're interested in aesthetics, there's a lot of different decisions we made to engage those types of audiences. So, but I think what you see with Alexandria that I hope people will pick up on is that she is the person she says she is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the debates that I see going on around her are kind of ludicrous to me, because it's like, oh, she never lived in the Bronx. No, she did. She didn't. Yeah, she lived in the Bronx. Like, just wait till the film comes out. We'll see. There's lots of scenes in her apartment,
Right.
So all of that, even some of that basic stuff about her story and background does get really scrutinized in the press. And by presenting that in, a way that is truthful, we obviously fact-checked everything.
Yeah.
We hope that it'll just inject some nuance and some grounding into that dialogue.
Amy, one of the other commonalities is that all 4 women who were featured are working class women.
Yes.
And there's a particular, I think, barrier, and I'd love for you to talk about this, to working class people, the idea that they also deserve to have a voice, deserve to be in leadership, are able to run for office and be successful. Talk a little bit about that aspect of your race and the challenges it presented.
Definitely, and that we were talking about challenges of even saying that moment, I'm running.
Right.
To even get to that point, you have to overcome the years of us being told that this, when for politicians, you have to have this kind of past.
Right.
You have to come from this pedigree. You have to come from this class. You need to be prepped. Here I am, the single mom who was on Medicaid, WIC, food stamps at one point, worked my way through college in the evening. Yes, I did work my way up through the business world and became a CFO, but there was a lot of struggle to get to that point. So, I mean, all of us, it was like, to come out and say, we're actually going to run, I think it's a great moment in time in politics in this country for us, because we deserve a seat at that table. And if they don't give us a seat, we're all going to bring our lawn chairs and we're going to pull up anyway, and we're going to take that seat, because that's what we really need. When we hear things like where they say, well, if they didn't buy that cell phone, they would have had money for insurance. You know that our politicians are out of touch.
Yeah.
We need more people in office who represent and understand what it's like to actually struggle, those challenges. And it's hard, and to be able to take policy and really make sure that it's good policy that really is going to affect change for the working class, it's necessary that we have representation of people. We need to have people that are like us in office, and make sure that they have a seat there and they have a voice.
Well, I want to thank you for running, for stepping out and doing that. That is not an easy thing. It sounds very much like you are not done with that fight. And what an incredible way to honor the legacy of your son and make sure that that doesn't happen to any other parent out there. Your daughter, rather, yes. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And Rachel, thank you for creating this film and making sure you're highlighting these women, these incredible stories. So both of you, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Coming up, have you seen Avengers Endgame yet? No spoilers here, but one woman had a very strong reaction to the film we want to tell you about, and also a whale that may be a Russian asset. We've got to tell you about that as well. All the weird stories when Rising continues.